Thank you very much, Ben. Good evening, my name is Jodie. I study mechanical engineering at the moment. I'm in my final year at Sheffield Hallam University, and I consider it a real honour to be here tonight representing the IMechE. I'm going to talk you through my early career journey, and then I'm going to finish with a few points of advice based on that journey. So starting at the beginning, maybe when I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, I was thinking, what are my career options? I thought maybe scientist, artist, a doctor, or a product designer. And these were all based on the subjects that I really enjoyed at school. And then at the age of 13, I was introduced to the idea of engineering. And I looked into that and I realised actually engineering is just applying these kind of subjects to creating a better world. So an opportunity came along. The first university technical college in the country opened, the JCB Academy. And they offer an education where you get to study engineering alongside your GCSEs. So at that age, I took a big risk. I didn't really know what to expect. I was still new to the idea of engineering. But I said, yeah, I'll go for it. I'll give it a try. And from that, I really enjoyed my studies. I got involved with things like the engineering education scheme. I also took on an extracurricular project in a local airfield, helping to restore aircraft, one of which was flown by Amy Johnson. And by the end of it, I even got to meet Prince Andrew to receive an award. But then, what came next? Well, university, that was the logical option for me. I was the first in my family to go to university, but it was something that I dreamt of doing from a young age. When I completed my A-levels, I didn't get the grades that I needed for my first choice of university. So I went through the clearing process, and I went to Sheffield Hallam because of its strong links with industry. When I arrived at uni, these were the kind of feelings that I felt. I was excited, it was a new adventure. I was quite lost. I didn't really know what to expect. Nobody was there to kind of guide me with a roadmap and tell me how it was going to be. But I thought of it as a clean slate and a new opportunity. So as soon as I got there, I was looking at my year in industry placement, and I quickly realised that I could do something called a summer internship. So I applied to over 20 different companies. And one company offered me an interview, and that was Siemens. I was very fortunate to get a position there from over 500 applicants. I was in my first year. I was up against people 3-4 years into their studies. And I worked as a process engineer on MRI scanners based down in Oxford. After that, I returned to university. I was very lucky to receive a scholarship from the IMechE worth £3,000 per year, and that's helped me in a lot of subsequent projects and extracurricular activities, which I'll talk further about later on. And following that, my lecturer told me about a local IMechE group that I could get involved in. As you can see at the bottom, I've got a picture of a snowball as well, and this is to highlight where I've kind of found an opportunity, I've grown my skills and confidence, and I like to think of it as a snowball effect, and the IMechE has been very much part of that. I now chair the South Yorkshire Young Members, and I'm also involved with the IMechE's Young Members Board, representing the whole of Yorkshire. Through that, I've been involved in lots of different events, be it site visits, organising seminars in the local area, competitions for students, lots of different things. Then my year in industry came. I got my first choice of role at Rolls-Royce. So I worked as a product definition engineer, worked in future programmes, so a really exciting area of engineering where we get to look at new innovations and technology. And I worked on the Ultrafan product, which is up there. It's a new jet engine due to be released in 2025. When I was on my year in industry, I didn't just stop with the core responsibilities of the role. I looked for different ways that I could grow my skills and get involved in different areas. So I realised that I could complete the monitored professional development scheme offered by the IMechE. And that allowed me to be mentored by a chartered engineer, and I actually completed 1 year towards chartership, which was a really fantastic experience and helped me to develop my skills. I also became a STEM ambassador. I did my training at Rolls-Royce. It's something that they really encouraged at the company. And by the end of my year placement, I was organising events for the company. And the picture there shows a full day of events that I organised. I led a team behind it. We hosted around 50 RAF cadets. And that was a really proud achievement for me, from helping out with events to now leading events and helping to inspire others into engineering. The other part of my year in industry came when I looked at other scholarships available. So I joined a scholarship programme with the Royal Academy of Engineering called the Engineering Leaders Scholars, and that's really helped me to develop leadership skills. I also did IMechE, so I became a professionally registered engineer at the end of my placement year, before even graduating. And doing that helped me to really reflect on the things that I'd been involved in at Rolls-Royce. I was also named one of the top 50 women in engineering by the Daily Telegraph. So I was in a list compiled by them and the Women's Engineering Society. And it was a real honour to be listed amongst other people that were highly known in their profession, and they'd achieved incredible things. I also joined the Undergraduate of the Year scheme. Rolls-Royce sponsored the female category, and I was able to meet the CEO of Rolls-Royce. So all really incredible things that you can do above and beyond just the year in industry itself. Following that, I was offered a further summer internship with Rolls-Royce. So I accepted that, and I worked in a different area. So I became a manufacturing engineer. I looked at improvements for the Trent 700 and 900 engines, particularly reducing the number of defects. Through that, I was able to fly out to Singapore at the end of it and communicate what I had learnt, and to help the quality teams out there to implement a new communication system. And I also received a Lean Six Sigma yellow belt, which I was quite proud of. Then the idea of space came along. So after the internship, I went back to uni. This takes us to about March this year. I attended a conference for students in space. I only attended it because I found out about it at my university. I didn't really know what opportunities were available in that sector. So I thought I'd go along and find out a bit more, found it quite interesting. And I discovered this organisation called the International Space University. They run a space studies programme each year where you get to learn things to do with space, not just engineering, but things like politics, law, business. And I was really inspired by that. So I found out I was eligible, and I thought, okay, I might as well apply. Why not? It sounds great. So I went along to an interview to get a scholarship for it with the UK Space Agency. And that all went well, so I have the programme fees covered for that, so that's what I'll be doing next summer. So really exciting new endeavour for me, a new sector for me to look into. This summer, I went off to South Africa, so I used some of my IMechE scholarship to do this. I really wanted to get international work experience during my degree. Without the scholarship, it's not something I would have been able to afford to do. Being out there, I worked for Gabler Medical. They're a medical engineering company. They supply to hospitals, veterinaries, dentists across the world. And they make things like this. So that is a suction controller. So if you think of suction in terms of the equipment doctors use to perhaps drain somebody's lung, or in surgery to clear blood away, or to clear somebody's throat of vomit, for example, that all needs to be controlled. And that was some of the work I did. The company only started using computer-aided design last year, so quite old-fashioned. And a lot of my work was using new technologies, particularly cloud-based software, to update the products. And then I also did some work on flow meters, so measuring the flow rate of oxygen. as it passes through different devices and pieces of equipment. After I came back from South Africa, I thought, okay, I've still got about a month left before I need to go back to uni. What else can I do? So I applied to a week-long training course with the European Space Agency. They offer funded training courses in different areas of space for students. So if that's something you're interested in, I'd highly recommend that you have a look at that on the website. I did mine in spacecraft operations out in Belgium. And I was one of 30 from Europe to have the opportunity to do that. And that was really interesting. I also did a week with Accenture down in London, and that was using blockchain technologies. So I got a crash course in blockchain. I got to learn as well a lot about the company and tech consulting. And me and my team, we developed a blockchain solution to help improve traceability in the food industry supply chain. Following that, I went to a Bright Network event, and I was very honoured to receive an Outstanding Achievement Award for the things I've been involved in previously throughout my studies. That takes us to today. At the moment, I'm currently shortlisted in the WISE Awards as the one to watch, which is a real honour. And I'll find out in a couple of weeks' time when I get to meet Princess Anne as well, when she announces the winner. I'm also shortlisted for the Nova Prize, which is a new prize developed by the TAB and EY. And that's to celebrate outstanding female contributions in the areas of STEM, not just engineering, but STEM in general. So I'm really looking forward to meeting other people representing different parts of STEM there. And then Sheffield Hallam Engineers. So this is a new group that I've co-founded and helped set up. I'm now chairing. We're affiliated by WES, Women's Engineering Society. And the idea of that is to connect female engineering students at my university across all different levels of study and different engineering disciplines, and to try and support them, organise events, get trips out to different companies, and support them in their studies. Thinking from now onwards into the future, so ISU, that's confirmed, I'll be doing that next summer. I will then graduate from Sheffield Hallam. Today I had an interview actually in London for a thing called Schwarzman Scholars. That's a study programme in global affairs based in Beijing. And they have a strong focus on developing leadership skills. It's a fully funded year, and I'll be studying alongside people from different backgrounds, not just engineers, but people studying all sorts of subjects. So if all goes well, fingers crossed, that's what I'll be doing next year. Then I hope to get a job in the space sector. Very excited about what's currently happening in that sector in the UK. It was mentioned about the spaceports. There's also the potential to maybe look at European Space Agency for employment too. So yeah, that's an area that I really want to go into. Then complete chartered engineer. That's always been a goal of mine. Do that quite early on in my career, hopefully. And then to hopefully join the mentoring scheme where I'm helping others to gain chartership too. An MBA, maybe, after a few years of exposure in industry. That's something I've dreamt of doing for a long time. One day, maybe set up my own business. I've been looking at new technologies in space quite recently and reading up on that. And there's a thing called deep space asteroid mining. So not just looking at the resources that are available on Earth, but also looking beyond our planet for resources and what can be done there and the technical capabilities involved in that. And NASA reckon that would be the next $1 trillion industry, so that's quite exciting too. That's not going to come about for another maybe 20 years or so yet, but still a really interesting area to look at. So that's it for the content of my presentation. I'm now going to end with a few take-home messages. So things I've learned along the way. The first one is dare to dream. Without having ambition to do things you're not necessarily going to get it handed on a plate. So you need to have it. You need to have your dreams defined. You need to know what you want to do. But don't let people tell you that something is a crazy idea and you shouldn't be thinking of that. If there's something you want to do, just go for it. Don't listen to the negative side of that. Second one is get out of your comfort zone, and I really want to emphasise that. Seeking opportunities that stretch you is really important. Me stood here tonight, this is a stretch for me. Public speaking isn't necessarily one of my strong points, but I'm doing this to develop communication skills. So I really want you guys to think about what opportunities can you find to push yourselves outside of your comfort zone and to develop new skills. Third one is grow your snowball. You've seen from my presentation today that a small opportunity can rapidly grow in momentum. It can become something much more extraordinary. It can change your life in effect. So yeah, go for it and look for opportunities to do that. Thank you very much.